Hey guys, welcome back. This is James again. Today we are going to be continuing from where we stopped yesterday. And yesterday we just loaded, I showed you how to import a file from Photoshop into After Effects. So now we're going to be working on this layer to create this transition of a clock. So whether you need it fast or you need it slow, it's just going to be this simple animation. That's what you're going to be doing here. So double click, you have to double click so that it can open all the layers. Okay, if you click and drag, it won't open all the layers, it will just open one single layer, which we don't want. We have 4 layers here, and we're going to first rename each of the layers so that we know which is which. So this first layer has been noted by that, and we're going to right click and then rename it maybe hour, so that we know that that's the hand for the hour. And then the shape layer, shape 1, we're going to rename it as minute. Then the group 1, we're going to rename it as clock. And finally, the last part, we're going to rename it as background. Right, so now we have our 3 layers renamed. You can also rename that. And now what you're going to do is, when you click here, for example, you can see that the anchor point. So for example, if you click R on your keyboard and try to rotate this clip, you'll find that it's not rotating because the anchor point is not in the center. Now what we will have to do in the beginning is to put our anchor point at the center point. All right, so you press A on your keyboard, so to bring up I like using hotkeys because they are much faster. So it will bring up the anchor point for this, for the hour hand. And now just move the hour hand up or down, bring your cursor and then click and drag the anchor point in place like that, so that it's kind of perfectly aligned in the center. When it's perfectly aligned, come back here and then reposition, move this anchor point down or up, and then by here clicking and dragging, then move it to the side like that, so that we can go back to our normal position, right? All right, so this is a perfect place for our, so let's do the same for the minute hand as well. For the minute hand, you can see the anchor point is here, and we're going to first set the anchor point. Click A on your keyboard, move the minute hand away, bring your cursor and then click and drag the anchor point in place. So let it be in the center. You can click shift to help you position it in the center if you're feeling like it's giving you a hard time. Now we're going to replace our cursor back in place where it was. So now if you're to go back and say click R when you select the hour and then click R and rotate, now it should rotate perfectly. Okay, so now we're going to be working. Now there are 2 ways of adding animations to your the first part is you can set, for example, a keyframe here. Let's for example go to the minute hand. All right, click on the minute hand and then click on rotation to add a keyframe. Click on the keyframe there, and then maybe you can move it like here, drag the rotation to another place and another keyframe will be added, and when you play it back it will move. All right, that is the easiest way. Sorry, that is one of the ways you can do it, but this is not the easiest way you can do it because this way is tedious. So what we do, we don't use this. Instead, what we're going to do, we're going to use what is called what are called expressions. Each of these hands is moving at a certain constant speed. If you wanted to add keyframes to that, it's extremely tedious. Instead, what we do, we decide now that we're going to use expressions. We need to make an expression where to make this this hand move with a constant speed. What we can do now is we can first of all pull up our rotation, because that's what we want. An expression actually can be added on any keyframeable properties. For example, the anchor point or the rotation, whatever. Okay, you can add an expression to any of these points. So what you have to do, what you have to know is, if for you to add an expression, you just come over to this place where you want to add the expression, and then alt and click. So that will open up this area here where we can type in an expression, whatever we want, the expression we want, so it can begin working. But if in case you don't know which expression to use, there are so many here that you can go, and then there is, for example, time, footage, blah blah, and then there are all these others. Some of them even show you how you can use them. If, for example, random numbers, if you don't know how to use them, these are all expressions. You can find them by clicking on this area here. But for what you're going to be doing now is we're going to make this a time variable. So we're going to attach this expression to time. So you can type in time, and then for you to separate sentences in After Effects, you have to use a semicolon. It's a good practice for you if you're to begin using it earlier on in your journey, so that it won't be a problem for you. Okay, so when you're done, you can just click out like this, and now when you play it, you'll notice that the hand is moving, right? But now, since we attached it to the expression of time, it's only going to move slowly according to time, to the time variable. This is how fast the hand, the minute hand will be moving. If in case we want to maybe make it go faster, we can just kind of define how fast we want it to go. Let's say, for example, we want it to move one full revolution, one revolution, like in, say, let's say 5 seconds. When we divide 360 by 5, we get 72. So which means that we can come over here and multiply 72. Sorry, we multiply the time by 72. All right. So to multiply, you use the asterisk sign, and that is the sign above on your 8. If you're using a keyboard, that star sign, like so, you shift and click 8, number 8 on your keyboard, and then it will bring the asterisk sign, and then you type in 72. Right? So this means that for each and every 5 seconds, our minute hand will actually move one full revolution, and this will make it move a little bit faster. So when we click outside, if you have to click out and then we play it, now you'll see that it moves a little bit faster. So for every 5 seconds, you make one full revolution. If for every 6 seconds you want to move it one revolution, you can just divide 360 by 6, and there you'll get 60. And so you just come and type in time times 60, click outside, and then play it again. You will see that it will be moving like that, though with a slower speed. So this is the basis of how we do it. We are going to do the same thing for the hour hand as well. So the hour hand, just come and click there, and then click rotation again. For the sake of this video, I'm just going to press Alt on your keyboard. If you're on a Mac, it will be maybe Option or something like that. So Alt and click, and it will bring that expression area there. Then you can type in time. So we can type in, and again, asterisk. Let's say we want it to move slower than the than the minute hand. So if our minute hand is moving, let's just say this one moves at 10 times, right? So that yeah, let's just say it moves 10 times. Or if our minute hand is moving, if our minute hand moves 1 revolution, right, we want it to move, we want this one to move what, by just this much. Okay, so what does that mean is that we have 100, we have 12 we have 12 revolutions here. Okay, so if our minute hand is moving by, if our minute hand is moving 60, okay, because here when we go back to our minute hand, just a minute, here we've put the value 60. Okay, so we now have to divide this just by 12. Okay, so 60, so we have to get 60 and divide it by 12, and so that will make our minute hand, sorry, our hour hand move by 5. Okay, just I guess it is 5. So let's multiply this by 5, and then we can collapse this, can click out, and then when we animate them again, you'll see now that let me first remove that. Okay, so you will see now that they are moving at the same time, but we can add, even we can make this much better, because if like someone comes and tells you, okay, now can you make this move a little bit faster but retaining all the properties of time that time has, now there it becomes a problem, because now you will have again to go back and change each of these values. And let's say if someone says 360, sorry, if it moves 3 seconds in a revolution for 3 seconds, then you have to go and put 120 in the minute time, and then you put 10 in the hour time. Again, it will be good, but we can make it easier. So what we can do for that, we can add what we call a null object. Null objects are very good. They are very helpful, again, in terms of helping you to use kind of linking properties of these layers that we are working with. So to add a null object, you come over to the layer section here, and then new. Okay, so layer here, new, and then it's in the null object, or Control Alt Shift and Y. So we can rename our null object. We can rename it maybe variable control or something like that, whatever you want, just for the sake of understanding what we want to do with it. So in the null object, we can now add a property that will enable us to link these two properties together. To do that, we can come over here. So we're going to just be adding some sort of variable that will help us, because we cannot really attach both of these properties to the null object, because it's a null object, obviously, but we can add what we call expression controls. So these are controls that will help us. Again, there are so many of them, but like on their own, they're just nothing, they don't do anything, but you can use them to help your expressions, to control the movement of your expressions, if you understand what I mean. Okay, that's why they're called expression controls. So we're going to be using the slider control. Just click on the slider control and it will open it here. Okay, so when we double tap, it will open it down here as well. You can come here and rename it. We can rename it to, maybe we can rename it to something. Okay, so maybe time variable, or time speed. So this is the time speed. Now what you're going to do, we have a slider here, and this is a slider on which we're going to be attaching our variables. Now just come over here. When you click on the hour, let's use the minute hand first, and then click on rotation. Okay, so when you see on the rotation here, we have a property already. Okay, but now what I want to show you, so let's open up the rotation by clicking this and drags down. Now what we're going to do is we're going to first delete this part, delete that part, delete the 60. Now we're going to pick whip this rotation onto the slider of the null object within the null object. So let's do that by clicking here on the pick whip. Notice that there are two pick whips here. There is this one that this is normally used for if you want to attach this layer to the null object, but this time we are attaching an expression to the null object, so we are not attaching the layer. So what you have to do, you have to use this one, not use this one. So pick whip this and take it to the slider. If you move it up, it won't work. Just take it to the slider and release. And now it has put our expression for us here. This expression is what we're going to be using to work with our new the way we're going to be working with it. I'm going to show you in a minute. Next part, just copy that, Ctrl C on your keyboard or Command C, and now you're going to do the same but for the hour hand. This time we can just double click here and paste. All right, but now okay, once we finish, let me first show you something little. When we go to the slider and we put this, we go to the slider here and we click, and now we put a value, let's say 150. Okay, and click out. Now when you play them, you'll see that they're both moving at the same time. The hour hand moves slower than this minute hand. So what we're going to do, we're going to we're going to just add an expression to the hour hand that will make it move a little bit slower, because we know that a hour hand moves only one revolution for every 12 times this thing moves. Okay, so that is as simple as coming over to the expression here in the hour section and divide it by /12. So because for every one revolution that the minute hand makes, this hour hand moves only once. So that is why we are dividing it by 12. And now we click outside, and when we play again, now you can see that it's back to our original. And come and put 600 there, for example, right? And then when you play it to move at the same time, it will move real fast. But the thing with this is that you won't have to come in and change your hour properties and the minute properties. The only thing you will have to change is this value here, and they will both move relative to the new value. So this the slider just acts like a variable here. So you can again come and put in maybe a 400, let's say, and again when you play it, it moves slowly. Both of them will now begin moving relative to the new value. This is all I had for you today. Just go create, stay awesome, be amazing. Till next time, peace.